सही है, इतना ठंडा ही ठंडा चाहिए।
The 3 months we'll see the performance.
Okay.
So they are really good.
Yeah, sure. Good idea. Brilliant idea.
So I've asked Hari to look for his friends who are interested.
That's what I'm thinking of the list now itself.
That's what I can talk with them because they are available.
Sure. Yep. Good idea.
I have three students from Acharya. There are 3 students from Acharya. So forward the resume.
Get yourselves.
Fix it.
Screen share and you.
చెప్పు
Hello.
Hello. Hello, Kamal.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm not able to hear anybody. That's the reason I'm just. Okay.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Just present. You talk. You can hear from. Sir.
Yeah, come on.
Why are you hurting your Shishya?
Why what happened?
He is not happy that you are not joined for the session. Both Sandeep and Chandan are not willing to start the session without you.
I will not be joining the session.
You are on loudspeaker now. Sandeep wants to talk to you.
Yes, we will record.
Okay, fine, just take it. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Who else then? You put on mute. Mute lo పెట్టాను.
And would I want to
ఇక్కడ నుంచి వినపడుతుందా? ఇంకా నిలబడ్డ కూర్చో. కన్సిస్టెంట్.
ఏం తిన్నా సందీప్ మధ్యాహ్నం నిల్చుంటున్నావు?
చపాతీ తిన్నాడంటే.
చపాతీకి నిల్చుంటే చికెన్ తిన్నాడు ఏం చేయాలి?
మర్చిపోయా ఈ సండే సందీప్ బిర్యానీ వండి పెడతాను మనకి.
సోమవారం వస్తారు కదా ఆఫీస్కి.
సోమవారం అది తర్వాత మాట్లాడు. ఓకే
ఓకే చలో స్టార్ట్.
Good afternoon, guys.
గుడ్ ఆఫ్టర్నూన్.
Today we are going to discuss about future learning. Yeah, let's start. Before starting future learning, what is the problem with supervised learning? What we are using currently? Like any deep learning models, currently we are using supervised mostly. Like what is the problem with supervision problem? Supervised problem. So if I want to do any object detection model or classification model, any semantic segmentation, any model, okay, I need to train lot of data. I need to like if I want to do object detection model, at least minimum I need to be 5 classes are there. In each class I need to at least 100 images, or I need at least 100 images for each class. Yeah, that's the problem. So like if you are using n number of classes, okay, you need to increase like too much data. Like you need to be, it will take so much of time. So that's the problem we are going to have future learning.
When you say future, it's like a box you mean? What is
Yes.
exactly short means here?
Yeah, we'll discuss. Yeah. What is mean by future learning? Okay. Future learning is like only limited number of classes. Okay, in future learning they are like 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shot, 5 shot. Okay. What is mean by like 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shot? How 5 classes? I will take only 5 images per class. What is a 5 shot? So for 2 shot means for 1 class I will take for 1 image for 1 class I am taking 2 images per 1 class. That's a 2 shot. This is the name indicates of future learning.
Which means the number of
Number of
trainable images.
yes, that's the name. Yeah, this is the problem setting. This is a training data set. There's xi is the input image and input image, like you can say embedding vector, like future vector after giving the video 16. Xi is the image vector. So yi is the label. Okay, that's okay. With a few samples. This is called future learning is called as n by k short FSL problem. So n is the number of classes, k is the number of images per each class. Okay.
FSL means
Yeah, the future learning. Yeah. In supervised learning, okay, this is the error function. There's h cap is the ground truth, h star is the hypothesis, minimize expected risk. This hypothesis loss. Hi is the empirical risk, whatever the ground truth minus prediction one. So error decomposition is calculated as E of R of h of I minus E of R h cap. Whereas R of h of I is nothing but is your prediction. R of h cap is your ground truth. So we are calculating the approximation error and estimation error. So approximation is how error means how closely your functions hypothesis can approximate your optimal hypothesis. Like whatever hypothesis error, like initially some random initialize. So we are comparing with the optimal hypothesis value. There's estimation error, like it is calculating the your ground truth, the future vector, and whatever the it's learning, whatever is about last function. Okay, in this one in future, yeah. In supervised learning, the estimation error will be very less. Like if you have very large amount of data, the estimation error is very less. Yeah, whereas if you see in the first ellipse, if you see like there's a large amount of data, your empirical best is near to approximation error. Okay, whereas next like right side image, if you see ellipse, in that one if you have small amount of data, though your loss whatever the loss is very far away to approximation error. Sorry, your loss. Okay, this is like loss is okay. Yeah, your estimation is error is too much far to the optimal error. Okay, that is a problem with supervised learning. How to overcome this one? Yeah, that's we are overcoming this by using future learning. Yeah, if you see, there is a first one is some prior data. Like if you see some prior knowledge data, it is a one type of okay. There are three ways to solve future learning. One is data, one is model, one is the algorithm. What about data? In the data, some prior knowledge. Okay, what I will do is about complete about GANs. So I will give the input image. I will generate. I will give the my. I will generate some random image by through GAN. Then in this one, some prior knowledge. I will get two losses. One is GAN loss. GAN loss is I will give an input image. The GAN is generated. How much accurate for input image and generated image. Generate image. So there is a GAN loss. If it is near, I will take as a positive loss, and then I will go for classification loss. This is about prior knowledge. It's complete about GAN. Whereas a model, in that model, what I will do is this meta learning. You can say that embedded learning. Because what are the hypothesis? If you see that hypothesis loss is in the ellipse, somewhere it will start in the ellipse. Okay, now some prior knowledge by using some embedded learning, I am initializing my hypothesis lies very near to the optimal one. Yeah, there is this algorithm prior knowledge. This is the this is also the okay, some prior knowledge. This is some other algorithm, some hallucination kind of thing. So this is also the same as a model algorithm. So same as a model. Yeah, this discuss about. Yeah. These are the types of models we can solve the future learning. One is model and data and algorithm. This is model is embedded learning. Embedded learning. If I give five classes, I have five classes. In test set, you have different classes. There is no need to give same classes. You can give any other classes. Okay. I have some two classes, for example, a dog and cat. You can test it. I have some giraffe, a dog, a cat, any classes. Okay. What I will do, I will give the this input image to this one. You can say, okay, this is the input image. These are some classes. I'm giving the convolution layer. Okay. Then I'm passing to the LSTM bidirectional layer. If you see f of theta is nothing but a test set, then I'm comparing the future vector of the input image and the test set. How much accurate this one? If it is near, so it is going the same class. So if it is far away, it is going for like it is negative. So this is the same as what we are doing in face recognition. Same way we are doing. We are taking the input and we are comparing. We are giving some random. We are giving some face. Then we are giving to some conversion layer. We are getting some embedding layer. Then we are giving test set. We are giving some other face. We are getting some embedding. Then we are comparing. Then we are giving the name, whatever it may be. Like we are giving the name. So this is called embedded learning. In the data, this hallucination future is complete about the GAN. The data is complete about GAN. The algorithm also is complete about GAN. So I said about these two are complete about GAN. This model is for embedded learning. Yeah, this is embedded learning. So yeah, these two are like very big. I need to complete study about GANs, the data and algorithm way. So yeah, I will come up with these two.
That's it.
Yeah.
Done.
This thing I will explain. Like it will take more time actually. The hallucination, feature synthesis, and parameter installation. I need to complete study about this GAN. So I will explain these two.
No, even for a GAN need to be trained, right?
Yeah. Okay. So okay, GAN. What I will do? It will be trained. While I give the input image, there is a what I will do. Input image. I will by using GAN. I will generate some random vector, random future vector. Random future. Then I will compare with the input vector, input image vector, and GAN vector. If it is near, it will randomly generate the future vector. It will learn. It will learn how loss it is. It will reduce the loss until unless that input vector and output whatever the GAN vector near to the image.
Okay, so when you do feature learning, so what is the output of the learning? Is the weights file or
It's a weight file only. It's a weight file. Okay.
now if you do a supervised learning, you are actually creating the weights, right?
Yes.
you have your learning is going via your features are being learned via various convolution layers, right?
Yes.
And then your weights are being created. Then there is a back propagation happening. The weight reconciliation is also happening, and then proper weights are being updated in the end of the epoch. Now that's a proper weights file that is being created. Now it is learning over a feature over a time of a lot of iterations, and epochs it is creating.
Yes.
Now in feature learning, what is that it is learning that it is creating a weight file?
Yeah. Okay. In supervised learning, we are giving some images. Okay. It will comparing the input image and whatever the random rate, like it's comparing the like whatever the regression classification. Here, I'm not giving any other image. One image, I'm giving GAN is generating. So GAN is generating. I'm comparing the input and whatever the GAN generated. I'm randomly generating the image, synthetic image of data. I'm generating synthetic data by using input image.
So how is it different from your augmentation?
Yeah. Okay. Augmentation. Okay. You can say augmented. Like you need to generate randomly. You can generate. You can do so manually. You are doing here. So GAN is doing. There is no need of human interaction.
Why are they not? Why they were not using augmentation, and why exactly they are going for GANs in case if they want to synthetically generate the data? Why only GAN? Why not? Why not? There is a they didn't speak about approach called augmentation. Because GAN is a huge thing for me again, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Like and you need to like okay. Why you are not? You're saying now why you are not doing augmentation? Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, if you do augmentation also like this is the same thing, but
It's not the same. Then why you didn't cover that?
okay.
See, I have one question.
Okay.
Sir.
Yeah.
You yourself trained road track detection in 6 images,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
Now, few shot learning or the max you spoke about 5 images.
Okay.
It doesn't matter to me. 5 and 6 really doesn't matter.
Okay.
But still, that gave an output to
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Now you are talking about few shot you can do with 5 images.
Yes.
So what exactly is few shot learning? How is it different, right? Why should I go for why any deep learning practitioner should go for few shot learning? What are the exact advantages of it? Because I gave you a model, you have a model. I gave you 6 images, if not 6 images. With that, you have applied augmentation. You trained it. The output was 50%. That is fine, but you are still able to do 50%.
Yes.
Right? And in this feature, in this few shot, here also there is a possibility that you might go till 80% or 90% accuracy, may not be 100% accuracy. Right? That's not possible. Right? Now, what is exactly few shot learning? Why should I go for few shot learning?
Yeah. In future learning, some of the settings are there. Okay. Yeah. Today I have some supermarket. I have 100 classes. Okay. I given some other company. I given train the model. Okay. Yeah. They are took around 100 GB of data. Okay. They trained it. After 2 or 5 months, or they given the model. Okay. How supermarket another new product came. So new product came. So I want to give to you. So again I need to give 100 GB plus again new data. So if you can't do again presently whatever the weight file we are using, if you use if you add this data set, it can't able to learn again. It can't resume the training. If you add it will forget about all the things. Things are internally.
Right.
So if you by using some of the settings are there, that is a major advantage. Okay, like if I do that, if I use future learning, that some of the settings are there, and
You can add
you can add
classes.
additional class on top of the previous class. So, okay,
Then brilliant.
yeah, that is the settings are
At
there.
that point you should be talking, right? Where is it? Where is that point in your slide?
That is in this
Where?
Yeah.
Where is that point?
Yeah. Hallucination.
So you want us to go think about and then make you talk, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is yeah?
Thing is, this I need to complete study about data and algorithm.
No, so this is a valid point that you told. But I expect that point to be there in your text.
Yeah, like.
See, what if I didn't ask this question?
I will come up with again in the second session. I will come up with also all these things.
I don't want to ask any further question. I want people to ask the questions. If they are not asking, then
Still,
I
this one is still in like in development stage. Still it is going on. Still, power algorithms is need to come. If I want to use road track detection kind of things.
So I'm holding on the rest of the questions. I want to hear questions, then I'll ask. Okay.
What is the difference between zero shot and few shot?
You explain that one. Yeah. Yeah. Like future learning. Okay.
Now you see his laptop.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Whereas future learning, if I give one image, I will generate the synthetic image by using future learning. I am generating the synthetic image. Whereas zero shot learning, I will not generate the image. I will generate the embeddings of the image. I will generating the embedding. That's the main difference between future and zero shot. Yeah. Whereas zero shot is a no zero classes, like nothing classes. Whereas future means like
Embeddings, even in your future
Yeah.
also, embeddings are getting created. Those embeddings are being learned as features. Those features are being converted into weights and then being uploaded into the weight.
yeah, I'm saying almost the future. I'm saying let me lay it down. The future, I will generate synthetic image, then I will do this convolution layer. I'm doing that like that way. Here future. Then zero shot, there's right.
There is no convolution.
There's no convolution. Right, they're generating embeddings.
I know that. I understood that. That's where this question is coming from. So I was waiting for Chandan to complete his session. Okay. Okay, then I'll hold my questions. Any
Yes, still is going, and I'll come up with like as soon as possible. I come. We complete second session also.
Yeah.
I'll
in 2025. Yeah.
No. Once this is completed, so I need to add some last 1 week. I didn't get time to add slides. So yeah, I will.
If you didn't get time in last 1 week, you will not get time for next 2 years. Because then if science project starts, you'll not even have time to go for Loo also.
I'll ask some time to prepare this. Yeah. I will complete within 1 month. I will complete second session also. Yes. Last I studied, but I need to prepare slides.
That's what whatever you study is not reflecting here. And looks like I would ask more questions. I will ask. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, I will come up with second session.
Okay. Anyway, they have any questions? Let us ask.
Ask. Anytime.
Is this any different from clustering?
Yeah, you can use this like same as a clustering. You can use clustering algorithm also. Yeah.
Why? Come on.
For comparing.
Image comparison. You can use it by using some embedded vector. You can
Because most of the methods they compare with.
Yeah, there's so initially they have come up with some k-means clustering algorithm also. So yeah.
That's the algorithm part.
That algorithm part. Yeah, I need to explore. It's like initially part, but
Matching
matching.
the,
Some networks are there still. Yeah, in clustering. Yes. Still initially it is there. Yeah.
So I want to hold. Okay. Ask rest of the guys, please.
Yes, you said there are 1, 2, 3 short learnings.
Yes.
So what is the difference and where we should apply?
Okay. They should apply. Okay. One shot means nothing but one trading means one like for one class you are giving one image. Okay. That depends on you. If you are getting one image, you are getting some accuracy of 80%. If you go 5 more images, maybe you are getting some good accuracy. There's no way. Like if you are one image, you are getting some. Okay, you are able to predict on test images. Like you are getting good accuracy on images. It is fine. If you want like you're not able to predict. Okay, you're not able to do some good prediction. You need to go for few more shots. So yeah.
And depending on the number of images.
Yes, is a 5-shot feature. These are like starting nothing. In shot means nothing but n number of images for each image.
For each class.
Each class, yes.
So this model is different from SSD mobile.
Yes, obviously. Like yes, okay. So presently allocation what you are doing, you are giving some image, then some generating the anchor, then you are whatever you are taking that graph anchor and we are using regression loss. You can able to do with future learning. You can do regression loss. You can do. But here only point is algorithm is saying that generating of the data, that loss function is different.
Yeah. Any other questions?
So this few shots is in basis of per classification or overall?
Yeah, overall it is like okay, you can apply in NLP also. It is a more than n number of application. It ain't familiar with NLP, so it ain't. You can, there's so many. You can object detection, segmentation. You can use any number of.
So I need to ask, the shots are on the each classification of image or overall we have to measure the number of shots?
Each class
Each
or
class.
each per class. You can use NLP also. Some future planning like there, but yeah, I need to do again NLP. So it's still there. So many applications are there. Still going on.
So instead of adding the data, generating data from the end, if I use I think object tracking or
Okay.
so it can be helpful.
Object tracking.
Like the second frame, this is instead of generating from the game, it should be a similar object in different frame.
Okay.
So it passes by this model. So it can detect the object tracking, or it can detect the object.
Okay.
And the coordinate is changed. So in this way, it can use an object tracking or not.
Yeah, you can.
That embedding is will be there, so. for
It can
tracking,
be
you
used.
You can use. I mean, I'm saying now you can do in whatever. The
See, if you can get hold of the embeddings of the feature that you are interested, you can actually you can apply that feature comparison on each image, but then it will be costly for you in the runtime. It will take a lot of time. So that's where neural networks came into the picture. Now you are trying to avoid neural networks and try to get into a way. That's where again they are using this embeddings to update the weight scale is what he's saying. But I have a list of questions for him. Let us hold on. Any other questions? I think he meant to threaten everyone. Say that
for me, I have another question.
if you come back to me for any help, I am not going to help you guys to have the question. I think
We reduce the synthetic data, in which if I have a 100 sentence, I have to add 20
right.
sentence,
So
which
she
is
threatened all of you guys.
error. And
Not
you said
Sandeep
synthetic
Chanda.
data
Sandeep promised to give party. We got our
Some random image is generated. Random image. Based on input image, I'm generating random image. Synthetic image.
It can be anything.
They are getting
Anywhere,
homework
it's
grades
almost-
for student. Then I'm doing some whatever.
where he promised to
Cameras,
give party.
whatever.
But we are planning, we will not ask person today. We will get party. And then tomorrow we will ask person.
Where, I mean, party where?
I don't know.
Flow is complete. This is new channel is complete.
Share. Stop. I have questions. I'll come back to you after segment session.
Hello.
Yes.
Good afternoon. My topic is zero shot memory. So
Okay. We came from few to zero. Huh? Okay. Good.
It have been other way around, right?
No, it will be.
That is other way around.
Here we are going to cover what is zero shot learning, how we are going to implement, and why we are doing zero shot learning, and what is the application and the demo. So what is zero shot learning? So let's suppose as a human, if I will get this image and I will ask what is vampy monk. Okay, so no one knows because it is impossible because we don't know anything. So if I will
And see
say
Sandeep there.
if I will give some hint like it is small, it has horn, it is furry, and it is cute.
See, I know that.
So maybe someone knows okay, the second image having horn and it is small, it is furry and cute. So we can say okay, this is vamping. So zero shot learning is nothing but its ability to learn and able to solve the task without receiving the inputs from the user. Means we are not training the model with any image, but we are going to detect what is it. So this is comparison between the supervised learning and zero shot. The supervised is nothing but we know the target, we are training the model with the target, and we are testing with the images which is not including the target, but we know the image. It is belong to the same data set. And in the zero shot learning, we are training with some data set, but the test cases, the images are completely different. let's suppose we have trained the images with the cat and dog, and we are predicting cow. So zero shot learning is able to give us as a cow output. So this is a good example. It's an example only how it works. So let's suppose we have one image, horse and donkey, another is hyena and tiger, panda and penguin. So we are getting the features. Features are like size of the horse, the strips, and the color black and white. Using black and white, if we will push the zebra and we ask what is this animal for the testing. So we know there is a strip black and white. There is a strip like tiger, and this is the size like a horse. So somewhere it belongs to the zebra. But how will we the model knows the this is zebra? So this is we are going to discuss later.
Excellent.
Yeah. So why we are going for zero shot learning? So obviously we know in object detection we have a large data set. So doing annotation of the large data set is not possible, especially if we have the classes. Let's suppose if I will give the example of face recognition. So if every person having a class, so if we have 1,000 people or 10,000 people, everyone is a class. So we cannot directly annotate. So here zero shot learning will play a role. Another is in object recognition. I told the MRI of mind. The every portion of the brain need to be annotated because the every category having some words for the brain. Like we are going to say what he is thinking or what is the thoughts of the person. So the annotation is not possible all the time. So obviously human can do these classification. Like let's suppose the second image all are flies. So we can categorize the flies, but all are the different flies. So human can differentiate, but machine cannot. So here we are going to do zero shot learning. So let's suppose we have three classes. One is monkey. We have two images of monkey, then cat and dog. And the two other images we are going. We have classified based on the three classes. These are the feature vector. Let's suppose green is for cat, and this blue is for monkey, and the orange is for dog. So if we are passing these two images as a, we want to see what is the output we are getting. So its feature is going to lie somewhere in the space. So, but model, the normal supervised model is not capable to tell what is this class. Obviously, it will tell, but it will tell wrong.
Yeah.
So obviously, what zero shot do here? So we are going to discuss this one. So this is based on the transfer learning. Let's suppose we need to. It's a parallel model. One is one required for the feature extraction, that is embeddings. Another is we need categorical vectors. So categorical vectors is nothing but the human defined labels. Like he is a white, he is a cute, he has a black eyes and all. That we are mapping with the model, with the image, we are mapping the features as well, the categories as well. So we are going to train two parallel model. One is for embeddings, one is for category vectors. So for category vectors, we can use SVM, random forest, any of the parallel model. And the for feature extractions, obviously we have the VGG16 and ResNet. So we can create a model where we are pushing the data set, we are mapping the data set with the category label, and we are getting the features. For the testing, again we need to push the data set and get the features and get the categories. So based on that, it will show the feature space. Based on that, we can define, okay, this is not belong to the class, this is belong to the some other class. So yeah. So let's suppose, so the zero shot learning having all the applications in the supervised, unsupervised, and semi-supervised, all the classes. For the supervised, let's suppose the pros and cons, I can say. Let's suppose for supervised, we already defined while training okay, the first image is a black, yes, white, no, brown, yes. So like this, we can label for the as a category vector, and the feature from the image is going to take whether from some feature extractor. So the pros is obviously it's an informative design, and cons is we need to manually annotate this image. So yeah, so this is the annotations. Like let's suppose for zebra, in the downside we have the classes. All the classes are the category vectors. So we are going to annotate like this to train the model as a zero shot. And for unsupervised learning, it's like unsupervised. It's like unstructured data. and the data we are going to get like word from back and all this algorithm in the what is this text recognition, NLP, natural processing language. So what we do, let's suppose in the Wikipedia page, we get the word occurrence using some word to vec, and we have the vector of words. Then using some SVD or classifier, we can get the tokens from any word. So these two model we can use in zero shot learning. So this is domain shifting, how we are going to train the model. So let's suppose we are putting this is a feature vector and categorical vector, how we are mapping the data. So let's suppose there is a three classes, the red, brown, and the orange. So these three classes we know. So we already map this data with the vector, categorical vector. But what if we got two more images? One is zebra, one is pig. So let's suppose we are mapping the tail. So we know this is tail part, but both tail are not exactly same. So the feature vector we can obviously calculate using some feature extraction mechanism. But mapping with categorical, when we are mapping, we know okay these two are not going to be same. So while mapping, the classifier will plot separate. It will differentiate between both the tails. So like this, we are going to get the feature from each part of the image. Yeah, so this is the architecture, neural network architecture. So if we have a data input and we have a categorical vector, both are parallel. We are going to process like this in the zero shot learning. So application we have a huge application of zero shot learning, including NLP, video captioning, and image classification as well as recognition. Video recognition, we can train the videos for the few classes and we can get the output in the like various form. For example, some mixing butter, mopping floor, none means obviously we can get so many classes by training with a few classes only for video recognition. Second thing for application in audio recognition. So audio recognition is a problem where let's suppose we have an instrument to record the audios and we don't know while testing we don't know which mechanism or which device we have used to record the audio. So obviously it's a classifier problem. So here zero shot learning will define the source, environment, sensor based on the features. Features is nothing but a categorical features. So this is a demo part. I'm going to show one small demo on what is this? Zero shot. So it is based on the NLP task. So I'm going to find what is the this text is positive or negative. Okay. So this model is based on the transformer model. So I'm importing the transformer model pipeline. So yes, so let's suppose I'm putting text as I like movies. Label is positive or negative. Okay. Text. So yeah, so this is zero shot learning. So we know this I like movie is a positive word. So yeah, positive score is more than negative score. So here we are not defining. We don't know what is the label, but we can put more than 100 label, whatever we want. It will come the accuracy. Like I don't like movie. If I say yeah, this is negative. So this is what negative score is higher. Shifted. 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 So let's suppose I can give the word as technology. Let's suppose categories are technology, science, maths, computer, some XYZ, some name, whatever. We can choose category. So it's a zero shot learning, it will automatically define the category. Yeah. So score of technology is highest, 44%. Name is the second highest, XYZ, then computer, then maths. So yeah, so this one we can use as a multi-level as well. Like multi-class. Yeah. So this is how we get the output as a multi-level. So this is completely based on zero shot learning, which is trained on few data set, but we can get the output in a few classes. So this is the normal classification, the text classification.
How they generate the wordings, how they generate the features. How I know that is random and feature learning, the feature learning. That one.
Last.
Yes.
Okay, so for getting feature, we can use Word2Vec, anything, and the mapping is already done in the Wikipedia or whatever they are using predefined dictionaries. You can say the transformer model. They already did the mappings. So if you are putting some other label, it will find using zero shot learning. Okay, this label or this particular word belongs to this. So automatically it is generated. Either it is a new label or
Can I get architecture where the training code?
training code. You want to see all the training.
I want to see what are the training they are training now. Probably what you shown the demo. I want to see how they are doing. So that they'll pull to I help you guys how they train views.
That is only demo, so it's output. Transformer model is already defined. We have zero shot learning in the pipeline of transformer model. So I took one few lines for the demo.
This question will explain. So you said that in zero shot learning, you are using a feature extractor as ResNet.
Any
Right,
extractor,
right? Which means your zero shot learning. For example, if I train my ResNet model on warehouse, and then if I try to use it as a feature extractor to understand whether it is a pig or a zebra, will it work?
No, while giving the training module, feature extractor is ResNet fine, but we need to give the vectors as well. Vectors mean the categorical vectors. What is the color it has? It has eyes or not? It has nose or not? So the categorical vector we are going to define.
Which means when you're talking about the words like nose or eyes or ears, which means that these kind of labels should be available in your ResNet model.
Yes.
Right? Then only it will take. Otherwise,
so ResNet model is a separate.
Understood. Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Yeah. So it is dependent on your feature extractor.
Yeah.
And feature extractor should be learning about it. Right? If that is the case, how is zero shot learning going to help?
No, sir. First thing is let's suppose, for example, we don't know cat. Okay, we given a few animals like a lion, like a dog.
This
horse.
case I understand.
Okay,
This case I understand. See, the whole purpose of zero shot learning is the place where I may not get a huge data set. So that why should I look for zero shot learning or few shot learning for that matter? Where I don't have the possibility of getting huge data set to train my model. Okay. Otherwise, I don't have a problem. So the one problem he mentioned is you need to have a lot of people to train and all. If the model performance will be good by doing that, I will do it at this point of time. Okay, let us say if that is going to save my cost also, right? Let us say you still need some model which is understanding the switches. Am I right? So which means you have something where you are dependent on, which is already trained in a manual way.
But those
Right? First point number one. Point number two is I can't, for example, I don't know how which one to take an example right now, but there is some object which you have not seen, or there's something you are creating. I need to detect an object where it is not a common data set, not a part of a common data set. Now you can't do zero set, right? You can't do it. That's the problem, right? Now, Sandeep, in your future learning,
Yes.
you are using still a feature extractor trained from our models.
Yes. Future extract.
So then, exactly why should I go for zero shot learning or feature learning? How it is going to help me when you are actually looking at this one? Even his case also, self-organizing maps also. He is also dependent on ResNet kind of a model, where he is trying to use it to extract the features. The minute you change the backend architecture, the whole thing goes for a toss. Right? In a way, it's though we are not calling it as a feature learning, but the active learning part. Right? We give it as an active learning part. How is he doing the active learning? He is trying to create a organize this images using self-organizing maps or K-means, right? Whatever it is, he uses basically clearing clusters. He's using some technique to create a cluster. Yeah. And then from the clustering is submitted to the next layer so that it is learning on the features. Right? Yeah. Now, even in this case or in your case also, I am not finding it exact reason why I should go for it. How is it going? At least in this case, I understand. I can reduce the time of learning. I mean, that is the time of annotations or whatever it is, right? At least I can group it and then extract it and then submit it. But in this either case, what is exactly why should I use it? What is the why should I go for it?
That whatever the future, whatever the future. Okay, if I'm saying about okay, dark image sensor. I need to last function by whatever is cross and root class for classification. Here we are using cosine similarity. How much similarity between the input and output? The last function will be changed here.
Understood. You are getting the similarities. That's the point. Understood. That's where we are. Whether you are going by a embeddings approach or a feature map approach, whatever. At the end of the day, it is a vector, right? Your embedding is nothing but a vector, right? You are even if I draw a region of interest, you are creating the vector out of that region of interest because they are rich pixels of your interest. You are taking it. Otherwise, you are trying to extract what is a dense field, what is the rich feature which is there. It can be anything. It can pick anything. The only difference, yeah, I'm seeing at this point of it, when you are annotating it, you are going and pinpointing and say, you bloody network learn from this. This is the area I am interested, and it is actually trying to translate those pixels and understanding it. Right? In this case, you are not giving the annotation. That is fine, but then you are giving a reference image for it. Right? Now, even in the reference image also, and I was asking one question. Let us say if my intention is to detect a car, and if my input image is a person with a car, then what will happen?
Okay, that is
Yeah.
after detection.
Say 50% of the features is already there in the network. Another 50% it is trying to
Right.
That's all.
But which means this still confused 50%.
Yes.
Rather, if I go with the annotation model and I do only annotation for car, it is looking for only car. That part is understood. Now, all I'm trying to see is how is it going to help companies like us?
Okay.
Yeah.
As in the current model, so like in still it is going, research is going on, still is there. Like presently, whatever the last function, okay, my hypothesis last is going from somewhere like it is selling some like random thing. Here, some prior knowledge, I am putting some only if I 10,000 hypothesis values are there, the random are there, that much range is there. So I'm not going from 9,000 kind of thing. Thus, I'm giving like looking for 100 only for this class. That kind of settings are
No, I
there.
have one more question. I understand where you are going.
All probability probability based.
If I am giving the backend as a to do the feature extraction, why should I give the reference image first? Why should I give the reference image? You are using ResNet model.
Yes.
Why should I give the reference image?
Like, okay, reference image. Like while learning, the algorithm needs each epoch how is training this each okay. Each
It
epoch
is just removing the need of annotation.
no, it is no annotation. We will do object detection also. These are sake of classification. Okay, we can do implement with object detection also. Now what we are doing, each epoch here it will be one my test image and training image. First I need to compare one image. I have test image, 10 images are there. Training image of 100 images are there. For example 100 classes and few shot. If you say 100 classes, if you say 200 images are there, you can say one shot. Okay? 200 sorry, two shot, 200 images are there. I need to compare input image with test image. All input image with all 200 image, then I need to learn. In present scenario, it will not like that. The training is completely different in the future. The each epoch is nothing but I need to compare with input image and the test image. Find the similarity. How the similarity is same, you go for that class. Otherwise, there is another class. The training is completely different in future. Whereas currently it is not like that. Supervised learning. Then we don't compare with our test image. We don't have any test rate. The training is completely different.
Do you have epochs concept in FSA?
Yes, it is there. It's the same as a normal thing. Yeah, we can do upgrade detection also. Yeah, I will explore that one. I will show upgrade detection with future learning.
No. How is it? What is it helping me? How is it helping me? I have to go for a box which is going to take time.
Okay.
I need to have a pre-trained image, pre-trained weights file. At least in the case of normal training, I don't need a pre-trained image. Right? I can take just the network architecture and then train it. Right? It can start without any weights file. Right? How is it helpful?
Helpful. Okay. First point. Okay. By using it, we don't need huge amount of data. Second point. I'm saying in weights, currently weight file. If I want to add another class and about the resume training, I want to load the pre-weight file. I added some more class. So we will forget all these things. That is the second thing.
So which means it is helpful if you are trying to relatively learn the features of objects that are already known.
Yes.
That are already known.
Yes.
If you want to completely train a detection of a completely new object where you don't have a backbone, then you can't go for it.
We need backbone, like
For
any
example, that's what I'm saying. For example, let us say, let us assume that there is no model which is trying to identify this object.
Okay.
There is no model available for you, pre-trained model available for you to detect this object.
Okay.
In this case, to write a model to detect this object, you can't use FSM.
we can use like presently Resident 50 are using future extraction.
I understand.
Any model you need future extraction.
Now, in this case, there is no ResNet model for you now.
Resident, why we can use Resident except the futures?
Some general, all this character is there. This is almost similar. So he's saying you did not have to give that again with the input.
This is because I took this, you took that. I'm not able to find that something which we have not seen. Just imagine that this is a completely new object that no human has seen it.
Okay.
Then
in the future learn if it is some of the
for example, Sandeep, let us take your palette recognition. You don't get a general palette recognition model anyways. You tried it.
Minimum general features only. General features
What
are
is
same
the
for the
no? In the case of palette recognition, there is nothing like that. We don't have an open source model. Open source data set itself for palette recognition. We created the data set.
But in model,
In that case, FSL won't have.
why I'm trained with 30,000 images. Here I will use different types of like whatever like 10 to 15 images I can do.
Where is your ResNet coming from? What will your ResNet have then? Your ResNet need to have some print and wait file, right?
No, like which like feature extraction. That is a
You are saying that you are doing feature extraction without any weights file. Only the network you are using.
Anyway, that embedding is just future extraction. I will get some embedding. That is no need to already palette. Just embeddings I want. That futures I want. That's it. There is no object. This is the phone. This is the of embeddings. I don't need that one. Just I need futures of that phone.
whether palette is near to that embedding or not will identify based on the.
You are
similarity.
okay. You are. I think you are giving about. Okay, this already resonate as this mobile is giving the features of this mobile. Not so. This is the object only for me. I'm taking this embeddings of this one, features only. Just know this is mobile feature.
Then why should I use a restaurant architecture? I can I can actually have a feature extractor of my own.
Yes, we can implement. That's it. We are using Resident 50 like okay, it will do good job. Extraction is good. Like there's a like benchmark of any feature extraction we are using. Like
It
next
extracts
feature.
all complete features, so that's the reference.
If we can, if I don't want, we don't use. We will implement small architecture, feature extraction.
Concept wise, it is clustering only, but
Yeah,
modified with the deep
Some
learning.
yes. Yeah. So still yes. Initially it is come with clustering only. Then they are
Clustering and the probability based theorem only.
still they're talking about they take the unrecognized that give unseen image. They are able to.
No, once again, still. If you don't have a pretrained weight file of a SNP model, whatever it is, now you are giving a reference image, I understand. Now you have a training image in the reference image you have. Now, what is that? How does it initialize? What is the kernel size it takes? What are the boundaries it talk to extract a feature? For example, in the case of car and a man, right? How does it know that there is a car or a man? What features it looks for?
Okay. For using multiple objects in the same class, you need to go for object detection method. I need to draw bounding box.
Okay.
Forget about
bounding.
okay.
Forget about object detection. Let us start only classification.
In present scenario.
Now let us say
Okay.
I have car and car. Both are reference image is also car. There is also car. Okay. Now, how does it learn?
Okay. Present classification how is doing? It will show 50% of car, 50% of some bike. It will say like probability to equal.
Wait a second. Does it matter for us to discuss about classification model? Doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
Any classification model
Same
learns with references,
same
right?
thing.
Now let us not talk about classification model. Let us talk about object detection. So when you are talking about object detection model, you are providing a bounding box. So you are giving a reference image and then giving a bounding box, and then you are giving an image set to where to train from. So it is taking the features of the bounding box and it is generating a vector, and then it is also finding similar kind of vectors in the trainable images and then trying to compare. And if you have mirror match, then it is trying to save the values in the embeddings, and then the embeddings are getting saved of the weights file. Is that right?
Yeah, like yes, same. Like how training is, some bounding box are there. I need to test image also. Like I didn't check how it is not that the overall object works.
Okay. If that is the case, if that has the ability of that, right? I will always go with zero shot, right? Why should I even talk about few shot?
Yeah, you can go with zero shot also. That is advantage and few shot. We can go. We need to like still it is going on. We didn't know how much. We need to train some model.
Okay, do you both guys have scenarios when to go for zero shot, when to go for one shot, when to go for two shot, when to go for three shot? Do you have any scenarios like that?
Yeah, mostly like benchmark. They are saying one shot, two shot, five shot, up to five shot. Every time they'll get more. If you more five shot, they'll get more accuracy. But we didn't train with benchmark like Coco dataset. I didn't saw any data that trained with that much bigger dataset. There are some of the few datasets that are there. So yeah, we need to check like there no one is trained with Coco dataset like that. So once we know all the dataset, benchmark dataset, how they are doing, so we can able to say when to go like that. Like two shot is nothing. I'm giving five shot like some images and zero nothing. They're not giving any image. That's it. So that's the reason. Yeah, it is. We need to check. Actually, still didn't train with Coco and this thing. Some of the data sets are there. We need to explore on these things.
If it is trained with Coco dataset, then how it is different from the now presently having one?
Yeah, I'm saying if you train Coco dataset, how each image of 10,000 classes. In Coco, I will take only two classes.
They are trying to get a model which knows most number of the classes.
Yeah, I will take only Coco.
Each class number of classes, less images.
Yes,
Not like not two less, but
They are trying for they're going for a broad classification so that there are a lot of predefined features there. It might match with one of the feature and it tries to correlate and then negate it and then train it. That's how it is.
Some data sets are
In
there.
that case, we can take ImageNet, like it has 1000 classes, and from that can be derived with few shot learning can be take for object detection.
Yeah, we can do anything we can do with like whatever the pattern you are doing. We can do same. Here is last one is changing. Like way of learning is change. Except
In this case, why I need even a box?
like A to trade.
It's simple. My thought process is like this, right? You are anywhere drawing a bounding box. You are getting a rich feature vector out of it, right? Yes. In at least in CNN, it's continual learning. It is like a progressive learning. When you are doing a progressive learning, it is trying to over a period of iterations, over a period of epochs, it is fine-tuning the weights well, fine-tuning the weights well, using back propagation curve. It's trying to come to a place where it is feeling confident about the same model, right? Now, in this case, anyway, I am giving one image for training. It is taken, for example, let us say I am trying to learn this model. I have annotated this model. Now I am taking all the pixels which are very flat pixels. You average out using a root mean square or any mechanism. It's only black. It's only black pixel here. Why don't I directly go and write the values into weights well and say you are done?
Okay. I'm talking about go for zero set learning. Okay.
That's what I said. Go and update the weights well, saying that these are your values. That's it. Done with it.
Zero set learning. What it will do? Like first, I'm giving some input image. GAN is generating some random image for me. Random image generating. I need to know. I need to generate a.
You are always
no, like
understood. You are always cross comparing with your reference image.
No,
and then you are saying that how near you are, how near you are, how near you are.
Until unless it comes to generate the exact embedding,
You are actually replacing the mechanism of back propagation.
Yeah, like yes. I mean now
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then you are calling it.
Now I'm getting GAN loss also. If it is GAN loss is near to my image, input image, then I'm going to
this is much more a better foolproof version. But it will have its own disadvantage. If your GAN is not able to generate a proper realistic image, your model is never missing the accuracy.
We need to like
that means you are relying on your GAN all the time.
Yes.
See, at least in CNN, you're depending on single architecture. In this case, you're dependent on dual architectures. So you don't know where the problem is. Whether the problem is the way you wrote the code and then your hyperparameters, or if it is a problem with your GAN. You are dealing with the two
If the
levels.
reference is not at all up to mark, then
That's what
I have to deal
instead of
with
dealing with single level, I'm going to do with the dual level. Now that is Chandan and Sandeep. Okay, understood.
Yeah, GAN obviously means GAN.
For Simon's one shot also, I was saying the same thing. We'll have the subset. So if the subset doesn't have the up to
All
mark
the rich features,
which
then you-
are the up to mark predictions.
That means you have to
My
give the,
prediction is always
then you have to give the complete good image there. Okay, I think it is still in a research stage. I think there is something I'm not sure what is that. It's going to
They
go
are
from
trying
here.
to make the applications, but still they are
Not able to.
the time in journeys.
Yeah.
So this is completely the zero shot is completely like there is a one space where you are putting the features of the trained images, and one space there you are putting the categorical vector space. That is also a big space. The mapping is done by this algorithm, and if you are putting another image, so
Does that also create a weight span?
first we need to get the features. After features, we are going to map in the vector space, the categorical vector space. So the getting feature is a trained model, but mapping is an algorithm. After mapping, we are going to decide, okay, this is the category. The category is not in the trained model, the category, and the image is also not included in the trained model. So this is how it is run.
Okay. So any of our projects that we are going through, can we use zero shot learning or one shot learning?
Zero shot learning having huge application in NLP. So they have, because they have already trained model and the classes. Yeah, because they have already huge data set they have trained, and the classes the space, especially the categorical space, vector space, we don't need to decide because they have already. So whatever classes we will.
Any other place?
Sorry.
Any other place we can use this?
Yeah, one more application I was reading about this one is a fake face detection in the face recognition. Let's suppose our face recognition, we can break our face recognition using our phone. Means we can take our selfie and we can break. Using this one, this zero shot, we can just create one model, which is obviously we can overcome from this one, the fake face. I read one research paper, but I didn't get implementation.
Okay. Okay, fine. Any other questions, guys? I would leave it to the forum. Syed, Joshi, Akash,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
any questions?
No, sir.
No, sir. We are expecting questions from you guys.
Yes, Syed.
Syed Joshi,
I will ask you a question.
Thirumal Naidu, Akash.
So when are you coming to Bangalore, Syed?
Sir, he came last week to office also.
Oh, you came to last. I was not in office. Oh, yeah, you were there. Okay. So only who is the only missing guy now? Who is not in Bangalore?
Arvind.
Arvind. And he didn't join the session also. Good, very good. Okay, any questions? Okay, I'm going to ask the questions to them on tomorrow on this topic. Come, I'm going to interview you guys tomorrow on this topic. Any questions?
Questions on zero shot?
Good then. Ravi, Vishwa,
Yeah, come on.
Anish, you have any questions?
No. I have few questions. I'll ask in person.
You'll ask in person, huh?
Yes.
Oh, Sandeep attended.
Both.
That is not allowed. You have to ask your own.
We asked in group.
Okay. Sandeep and Chandan. So currently, Saima has downloaded large data for document layout analysis, right? So can we use the few shot or zero shot in that specific scenario? Use case?
You could use like whatever observation models.
You can't.
Yes.
The layout itself is categorical. The layout changes based on the format. How can you use one shot here? Come on.
That is also the observation only. What is the body of getting detection? What is the figure or not? Yes.
Hooray, it's a page layout analysis. Based on the format, layout differs.
Okay, we need to give different types. We need to, like, instead of giving same type 100, you can give 2.
So if there are 100 different layouts, now you are making 100 shot model.
100 into 2. No, 100.
100 classes and 2 images in each class. That is 2 shot learning with 100 classes.
That is 200.
He's not able to download the data.
Okay, yeah, but a good question. Yeah, let us try to use it. Create a model. Let us see. Yeah, it's a good example. Any questions, Anish? Any further questions?
No, that's it. That's what, based on few examples which I have, right? I'll have the images ready for me to ask the questions.
Okay, Vishwa,
Yeah, Kamal.
you have any questions?
Yeah, good. I think I like the Chandan presentation more. That doesn't mean I didn't like Sandeep's. It could have been better.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah, first wife is good. Second wife is obviously good.
Yeah, good.
Okay,
Good.
that's it. Huh? He's giving feedback. They're asking questions. Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your time. I know you both are in the not many other things and still you made your time. But I think Sandeep, you were not able to prepare more slides because you didn't have time because you are busy with the work. Right, but Chandan is also having work, but still he was able to make a presentation. Okay.
For me, I understand the future learning or not. For me, like slides, I can take 1,000. Okay. You understand?
Make those.
My target is I need to make you understand future language user like. If you understand, that's fine for me. I can make 1,000.
No, I was just kidding, but sincerely, now sincerely talking, right?
For me, knowledge is like you will get anyway. You are getting somewhere.
Right.
You are not getting. That's what.
No.
If I give
By
1,000
far,
slides, you are not getting. That is not good for me. Like, you are getting
No,
knowledge.
you
that's it.
mentioned, no, we are not able to do more.
Yes,
It
I'm saying-
requires
I'm-
more time to
That is part
understand.
two. That is part two. Like I need to study about the
Yeah, that's what it is.
So, but Chandan, good job. By far the most professional presentation you made in all the sessions.
Previously, I made very good presentation for panelists, and I was waiting from them.
Good, na? Who is stopping you? Okay, Vishwa. Next week.
What was that?
Now you already prepared, no? Okay. Next week, Chandan is going to give on panel.
Next to next.
Okay, next to next. Okay.
Okay.
Good job, guys. Good job. Thank you. I know this is evolving topic, right? What you guys do, and I wanted to make sure that you guys make this presentation because it's a process of learning, right? Good. What you did is you have shortened our learning time, right? That's the best thing, right? Thank you, guys. We look forward for more such sessions. So your second session is done.
Within 1 month.
Within 1 month. Okay.
I lied it.
Then 2026 only. Okay, guys, fine. Thank you. Bacha log, you can disconnect. My ego is etc. Okay, when I say please interns, please log off.
Thank you, sir.
Joshi didn't have a problem. Okay. Sayed have a
No, no,
yeah, Bacha means you are all young kids, right? So it's
Okay, then bye.
Expect him to respond.
Lakshmi, you also can drop off. Akash, SS, Sayed, you can drop off. Ravi, Anish, Vishwa, stay back.
Yeah, we can join from that room.
Yeah, you can come. SS, Sayed, drop off. Hey, Sayed. They left the screen. Yeah, essentially used to do this actually.
It's just even you have to drop.
Remove.
It's just okay. Sayed.
Okay. So who's next? Whose topic is next?
And listening here, everybody listen properly.
That's all. Now, having no questions is either an agreement or people didn't understand anything. I don't know what. I have so many questions. Maybe I have listening to complete session after so many days. These many days I didn't listen complete session. I was like, no. I think I was there for the darshan session. After that, I mean, very few sessions I was like complete during the complete duration. So you are making them feel like uncles, huh? You are angry, huh? I don't care. Okay. So who is next?
I think Anish or I think you.
Me.
You were supposed to be 29 January. No, December, I guess, right? Open conference, we'll connect it.
No, it's not accessible.
It's not. We open on my mobile.
Forget about that. Who else is there?
No, I think Anish has one. Okay.
Anish has one topic here. And texter, right? Anish? Okay, I don't think he can give like this much. Okay, fine. If there are no sessions, that is fine. I think one of the.
No, there are actually.
No, ensure that it's not present.
No, that's the reason. We are being flexible, but Whatever they learn, no, they have to finish learning. Yeah, I think next is Anish, and that's our OCR and ICR. But the next is right hardware for right neural net. That's for you. Rest all I think done. Now, also we need to add for one more thing, a toolbox. So sir has shared one link to present me and Ashwin.
Yeah. Full box is important topic.
So that you will give before Anish or after that?
Yeah, Anish, I don't think will be happening in this month. Leave it. I mean, don't pressurize him.
First plan for 5th January.
Yeah, scientists, 7, 8 are now, who will give us, sir, material? Now tell me.
Okay, fine. Then there are no the next.
Okay, guys, I want to see, one thing is like these, what are these models? May I have your attention, sir, please.
Working on the.
Can you close the laptop? Sir, can you close the laptop? May I request you to close the laptop? Please.
No need.
I want to see Simon. See, both girls are sitting there same. I want to see girls.
Yeah, fine, sir.
Thank God he didn't ask them to come this side. Then I would have said like, ended up telling like I want to see Lahiri and Sunny. So Sandeep didn't counter me. Good boy. Okay, coming back. So these two things has given us an input, right? What is important is updating the weights file to the right. End of the day, it is what is learning is you are updating your weights file with the data that is needed with the right data, right? So it is taking definitely the features and converting into whatever the vectors. The vectors are converted into values in input. So do I really need even to do go get into epochs and all, like or put together a right font? If I have a high quality image and the right annotation, can't I close my weights file in one row? Just extract the features, convert them into the values, and update right into the weights file. That's it. Why should I even go for epochs? Without epochs, there is no mission.
No, so like
It's not
this
valid.
will come in the format of pickle files. We will come across the pickle files. In that what
Pickle
happens
files
is-
is your temporary way of storing the features. You're storing features. I'm not asking you to store the features. He got the question. You did.
No, sir. Like in pickle files, also there are two types. One is storing only features. One is pickle file. Like first, it will extract the features based on the right features. It will do the.
It might put a numpy values into it. Right. But it is still not
learning.
The learned weights is what I'm trying to say. Is what I'm trying to say. The normalized weights I'm trying to say. Yeah, I understand your point. Without learning, there is no mission. I get that point. But is learning really needed?
Person to get the feature from any input index. So getting feature itself learning.
Now I'm giving here. I'm annotating.
But again, from the
Video
index,
input also. So that's why I asked you to plug that.
I said, like, zero set learning. What if okay, you are giving input image. The future image.
Answer my question.
Yeah, you
don't
can
try to repeat the system.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I need to start like that to do it. I will train the single image. I will train with single image. With single image, they will create weight. If you give any other image, you overfit the model. Okay. That whatever it will overfit on only training image. What you need to do? Zero set learning. What you do? Generate some different kinds of image. Different kinds, different like some of the future little bit change. Okay, if it is IOI, like intersection of linear. So it will be based on IOI only application is working. If I'm taking 0.8, you can intersection is 0.8, you can take as a positive and train the data away. So if you see part also like it is 0.
Okay, I get the point.
Okay.
How man, see today even using transfer learning, I can do I can fasten up my training, right? In that case, I'm not learning. I'm just transferring.
Okay, transfer learning.
I'm just transferring the learning.
Yes. Why we are transfer learning? So already
Before you answer that question, can I do a transfer and combine learning from two different files in one file and I merge learnings of two? Can I do that? As ensemble. Ensemble is happening. Ensemble always happen in the last layer. Right? I'm not saying that. I'm not. In that case, still both the models will run. Both the models get the output. In the last layer, your console, your reconciliation it and then giving it out. I'm not saying about that. I have a ResNet model A, which is trained on one dataset. I have ResNet model B, trained on another dataset. Now I'm taking these two training files and I apply transfer learning on two weights file to create one weight file is what it is. You can.
Initially, it was written on the node to attach two models. When Jesusa came, we discussed on the
that was pipelining.
It was not pipelining. My question was only the same question. I have two models with two features. Let's suppose one model for person detection, one model for pallet counting. I want to create one model which will detect the person as well as the pallet. So we discussed already. It is not possible.
it is not possible. But thing is, you can multiple weight files. You can store in single weight file. That is like dictionary format. While loading the weight file, you need to load in Python is there. Yeah. Thing is, it will merge in one weight file. The size will be like how much same like 3 weight file like 400 100 MB. There will be 600 MB. Major thing. Thing is, while loading the model, it's a partial dictionary model. I need to touch.load some whatever the weight file in the dictionary. I need to based on the key. I need to take 3 weight file.
This is same as a
multiple
running or
same as multiple weight file, but I'm storing in single weight file. The multiple single.
Okay. So when it's loading, it will load all the weights file at a time. All the weight files, or it only the one part of the weight.
I can load based on the key. Like I'm giving key and the weight file. Key and weight file. Percentage model and weight file percentage like that. In that case, the same MB, whatever the 200 MB, 600 MB 3. So, yeah, but thing is multiple. Like I no need to load. Like I don't know which weight file it is, where it is. By like confusion, if I'm going 3 sites, so I will merge into single one. So I know all the 3 weight files in this way. So, but we can do that one. We can't merge 2 weight files and things.
Sir, actually, there is one approach called parent-child training. Parent model will be learning huge features. Child model is a one
subset of
So it will like it's kind of transferring. Like it's
even this is not that.
No, sir. It's like it is used for fast training. Yeah. So I actually I sent one deck in last year for pruning and all. So in that, I said in that it's this parent-child.
How is it? I mean, does it still again has to go through training, or it is just a way of doing
like it still has to go to training, but with a less less effort. That's one possibility. Yeah, teacher model parent.
How is it? Is it going to do parallel? How is it going to reduce the training time?
Does it all? The teacher is already learned.
Yeah, teacher is already
a learned person. So she's transferring the knowledge. She's transferring.
First one you have to train. So second one.
That is same as a transfer.
No, that is totally different. We are transfer learning means we are like training our last day, but here we are transferring your knowledge from child to child. We have forward the specific needs.
Teacher
Okay, fine guys, let's conclude the session. Okay, you guys were not there for the last 2 days. Rigorous sessions are happening in Snake. So they have identified till now 9 use cases of one of the processes. Monday they are going to present 4 or 5. So it's going to be around 14 use cases. All it calls for is more work. Or you can call it as 14 different projects.
But it is one project.
It's like one platform. It's one platform, like one platform with similar functionalities, but applied in a different way. So it actually calls for a lot of work. Now, what could potentially happen is we might have to start some operations from Hyderabad. There's the customer is sitting there. And at least when the project is announced, at least it is awarded to us, at least for 15 days to 1 month, we have to be there, like, do the requirements gathering and all actually. So, okay, that's fine. Coming back, right? We are few people, we are a bunch of people and trying to deal with this Scient as a project, right? How do we scale ourselves is the question. It's a Saima, you are NLP. You both are. Yeah, I can stop.